County BOCES. Our business meeting. It is a Zoom meeting. All participants in the meeting will be muted throughout the course of the meeting. On your screen now, you should see an indication that the meeting is being recorded. We are required under the open meetings law to record this. So if you would acknowledge if there's a continue button on your screen so that we can proceed with the meeting. By recording this meeting and posting the link to this meeting on our website, it's fully in compliance with the open law. I will let you know that there have been numerous security concerns over the past 48 hours using Zoom meetings. There is a rash of hackers that are breaking into these meetings. That is why you are all placed in a waiting room and admitted one at a time so that we knew in advance who we were admitting to the meeting. In order to assure that we have the tightest security on this meeting and that this meeting is not hacked, the chat feature will be turned off throughout the course of the meeting. We also will not be unmuting any of the individuals attending the meeting, nor will we be answering any questions. All questions will be answered via email, and a separate email address has been set up for everyone to use. We ask that you please email us your questions, and an FAQ will be sent out to everyone in attendance so everyone can see the questions that have been asked and the answers to those specific questions. We're going to start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would all join me and put your hand over your heart, this is a very difficult time for our country. So let us pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the Republic,
and to the republic for which it
one
stands,
nation,
one nation, under God, indivisible,
and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
for all.
At this time, I'm going to ask Jean to unmute the BOCES Board President, Linda Berkowitz, who would like to give a welcome to everyone. Jean, can you unmute Linda, please?
Yes. Linda, you are unmuted.
Thank you, Jean. Thanks, Bob. Just briefly, I want to tell you how excited I am that everybody who could make it made it. These are, as Bob said, amazingly trying times. I know I am sitting here with two 2-year-olds living in my house at the moment. So if you think that at my age, that's not a new experience. I'm happy that we've been able to hold our county together so well and be able to hold our school system so well together. I really don't have much more I want to say to you. I just want to thank you. I want to wish you all good health. I want to wish you all safety. And I want to say, John Evans, you have the best background of all with that little bear up there. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Please take good care of yourselves. And thank you again for joining us. Mute me out, Jean.
You're muted.
So these are very trying times, but they're also times where our school districts show what it is that we do for our communities. And I've been on Zoom meetings with our superintendents every day for the past 2.5 weeks. And I've been on Zoom meetings with my colleagues around the state every day for 2.5 weeks. And public education is continuing in New York State. Our 3 charges have been child nutrition, child care, and continuity of instruction. And from one of our earlier meetings today, I'll give you an idea of what's going on in some of our school districts. In Fallsburg, Liberty, Monticello, and in Sullivan BOCES, in the past 2 weeks, 42,777 meals have been delivered to children who are in need. That does not include all of our component districts. That's just what BOCES has access to. So we're continuing to support our children. We're continuing to provide essential and needed services. So at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Jean Hewlett, who is going to call for approval of the minutes of our 2019 annual meeting. Jean?
At this time, I'd like to ask our board members to please vote to open the motion to accept the meeting minutes from the 2019 annual meeting. I need a motion. I have the I have the motion from Carol
Please
Gleifernick,
raise your
and I have
hand.
a second from Kathy Russo. And I'd like each of the members to please raise your hand if you're voting yes to approve the minutes. Thank you. I have a unanimous vote. I appreciate that. At this time, I'd like to move on to the introduction of the candidates for the election of the board. The candidates up for re-election this year are Carol Gleifernick from Eldred, Susan Horton from Monticello, and Anthony Sinicourt is a new candidate that would be joining our board for the first time. Their bios are available on our website, and I can email them to you if you're interested in receiving that information. At this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Susan Schmidt, who is going to do the budget portion of the meeting.
Good evening, everyone. I know that we're all missing the great dinner that Kathy Papo and Chris always prepare, and especially our students. But school districts are resilient, and in Sullivan County, I think that's extra true. We are very fortunate that we have a great group of administrators and board members and staff at all levels, from teachers to O&M and food service, and the staff that Bob just mentioned from our shared food service directors, working day in and day out. And so we hope that they stay healthy too. I am going to share my screen with you and provide you with the 2021 administrative and program budget review. I'm hoping that everybody can see that. I think that you can probably wave to Jean or something if that's not the case for one of you. And as Bob said, we did set up an email. I checked it a couple of times this afternoon and I didn't see anything because we had it posted on the website. It's BOCES budget at scboces.org. And so if you have a question, we're happy to address it, and I'll create an FAQ and send that out to everyone. So for the 2021 school year, as most of you know, especially those who have been on our component district school boards for quite some time, the BOCES budget is comprised of 3 portions. We have the administrative budget, which the component school districts vote on. We have the capital and rental budget, which is not voted on. And we have the program and service budget, which is also not voted on and is prepared basically to meet the requests that all of the component districts and some non-component districts have indicated to us on your initial services request. So each COSER, as you know, has to maintain its own independence, meaning that it has to have enough revenues to support the budget. We did email everybody a budget booklet, so every COSER's budget, along with the participation, was included in that document. And again, it's built on the initial services request. These are definitely unique times, unprecedented to say the least. And we know that our FSRs will be very different than our ISRs. And our intention is to work with all of our component school districts as you prepare your budgets, knowing that we're not going to get updated information probably until April 30th. We did extend the FSR deadline to May 6th. So that's about a week after, and we are going to be very flexible and work with you. We realize that in some ways, some of this will create opportunities for us to work together and perhaps share staff or look at new COSERs. And in other ways, all of us are going to be forced to make a lot of decisions that we haven't had to make in a long time, and that some of the COSERs may be impacted by those decisions. Again, the tentative budget that we had prepared based on the ISRs, and we know this is definitely going to be changing, was just over $47 million. Special education continues to be the largest portion of our budget, and I don't see that probably changing much because we have some more unique and smaller ratios than some districts have in their own home districts. So that represents about 40% of our administrative budget. And I'm not going to recite the rest because, like I said, we know that this is going to be a moving target as we move forward. In terms of the administrative budget, it's comprised similar in many ways to your own administrative budgets. The Board of Education, the district superintendent, central administration, and the business office are all included in the BOCES administrative budget. The one unique difference, as most of you know, is OPEB, which stands for Other Post-Employment Benefits. And that's basically all of our retirees' health insurance and Medicare B reimbursement. And we're going to be talking about that in a little more detail in a couple slides because we did have some changes to that. So our proposed administrative budget in terms of what we put out when we had to publish our legal notices and provide you with the documents, 10 days before this annual meeting, total $3,117,358. And you can see that the largest portion of that is the retirees' health insurance, which most of you know when you attend our meetings annually, I speak to, that's a unique part of our administrative budget. In all of your school districts, unlike the BOCES budget, that would be part of your general fund. So if you compare that 43.5, and I have some pictures covering that, 43.58, sorry, based on the administrative budget, if it were in our general fund, it would only be 2.88%, which is very similar to what your budgets look like. About 21% of our administrative budget is salaries, and you can see that fringe benefits is just over 11%. So those are the two largest parts of our administrative budget. So this is a new slide that wasn't posted on the website in the original materials because for those of you who are part of the DHIC Health Insurance Consortium, our rates came out after we had our original administrative budget approved by our Board of Education and all of our legal ads prepared, etc. So there was a reduction in health insurance rates for the Medicare population. And so we applied that reduction, and our increase for the DHIC Health Insurance Consortium also came in less than what we had anticipated in our original budget. So we, for the active benefits, there's a slight reduction. It equates to $4,734. But for the OPEB line, there's a decrease of $51,344. So we are going to be reducing our proposed administrative budget by $56,078. So if you're looking to the on my slide, you can see that I did a original proposed budget in the left column and the updated in the blue. So our budget will go down from $3,117,358 to $3,061,280. So budget to budget, that represents a 1.03% increase. Now, in terms of charges to the school districts, as you know, our administrative budget, capital, and rental is divided up by your RWADA, which is resident weighted average daily attendance. And that number has gone down. That's not something new to Sullivan County, and I have spoken about it before. So due to the decrease in RWADA, as well as, and I know that you will all be incorporating this into your budgets too, decrease in interest revenues, you will see a 1.85% increase in the billings to school districts. And based on the shifts in our WADA, there are some districts that have gone down and a few that have gone up. Again, net, it's down on a countywide basis, but this will fluctuate. So not everybody will experience this exact percent increase. Some actually may see a little bit of a decrease, but we've worked with all the districts, and your business administrators and superintendents can tell you where you are in regards to what the specific impact is to your component district. For 2020-2021, we have estimated rentals of $544,740. We provided this information for you because this is the first year that the BOCES capital and rental expenditures are an exclusion in your tax cap calculation. That number, when we sent it out to you, excluded the $44,000 for additional programs because we don't have signed leases or anything. That's just planning in case something comes up and you ask us to create a new section of a class or something. And so that information was provided to the districts. The one new item in this rental summary is the move from the current administrative building on 6 Work Avenue to the new location of the Liberty Mall on Sullivan Avenue. And that's for all of the instructional support services programs, our management services programs, including our central business office, the library as part of ISS Model Schools Distance Learning, and our conference center will all be relocated. We actually started to move in there before this crisis, and hopefully we'll be able to get back on track in a couple of months if the world returns to normal. From a capital expense, This year's budget is $625,000. We have a couple of roof projects, including the E-wing at the main campus, some infrastructure upgrades, and window and door replacements. And again, that $625,000 was the dollar amount that each district pays into that was sent for your tax cap calculation. BOCES revenues, we only receive revenues in terms of what we charge you for your services. You're not required to purchase our COSER services, but that's where we generate revenues. And like I said, every COSER from our 811 special ed program to our career and tech program has to be able to pay for all of its expenses. So its expenses and revenues have to balance out by COSER. We can't subsidize one COSER with another COSER. We do have quite a few participants from outside the county, both in special ed, career and tech, our ISS services. So we do, and our central business office is another great example because we have more outside districts that have joined that. We have some very small grants, and then individual tuition fees are also another small portion. Sometimes we get a cosmetology student that needs to finish up their hours, and they have a tuition that they pay us for that service. Interest is going to be hardly anything. We do not levy taxes. And as you know, anytime that we have a surplus, it's returned to our school districts. We generate over $9,700,000 in BOCES aid. For you, or you generate that in terms of the 8 component school districts. As most of you are aware, that dollar figure is based on the prior year's expenditures. And I wrote on here because I know a lot of people might just be reviewing the presentation and not able to join us. It's unqualified aidable expenses. So like special ed is an example of a service that's not BOCES aidable because you file independently for your excess cost aid for special ed services, just as an example. And so I listed everybody's district-specific amount of BOCES aid here. And that pretty much covers our budget presentation for the upcoming year. As I mentioned to you, we did create this email, BOCES budget at scboces.org. I'm happy to entertain any questions. I'm missing the interactive participation in the dialogues and conversations that I have with many of you at the annual meeting and throughout the year. It's an unprecedented time, and I wish all of you great health, continue to do what we all do best, which is work together for the students of the county. And I'm amazed as a parent and as an educator that our teachers are able to make this shift and send requests for Google Classroom and mail packets home and just truly work together. And I think that that's pretty amazing, and we should all be really proud.
Thank you, Susan. So on the bottom of your screens, at the bottom of the presentation was the email address for you to email questions to us. Those questions will be turned into an FAQ, and they'll be turned around and sent out to all of the participants from all of the districts. Jean will also be sending your district clerks and your superintendents an email after this meeting with that email address in there so you can link off of it. These are unusual times, these are trying times, but everyone is doing their best to service the students of Sullivan County. I can't tell you how proud I am of everyone in every school district in what they're doing for our kids. They're looking to give them as normal a life as possible. The definition of normal nowadays is very, very different. It may be this way for some time to come. We'll need to wait and see. I appreciate all of you participating in this meeting. We are still requesting that your boards meet either telephonically or by Zoom on April 21st to vote on the BOCES budget and to vote on our 3 candidates for the BOCES board. Those results can be sent to our district clerks. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your involvement, and we look forward to seeing you all face-to-face at some point in the very near future. Thank you for attending our annual business meeting. Be safe, take care of yourself, take care of your families, and we'll see you soon. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you. Jean, you can end the meeting on your end.